standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis. I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
All right, here we go. What's happening, guys? What's going on? Appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much. I'm just hoping everything works. I have so many clips and stuff pulled up and things to talk about that I'm just hoping my system doesn't get fried before we get to the juicy stuff. What's going on, guys? I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I really appreciate you joining me. It is Tuesday. I appreciate you joining me on this Tuesday show. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 15,000. Unfortunately, you got to hit 14,000 first. It's just the way the numbers work. That's just how it goes. But if you help us get there, I would very much appreciate it. There's a multitude of different ways that you can help contribute to the show. If you like supporting independent media, if you like supporting alternative media to the, to the mainstream people that, again, are both sidesing it as much as they possibly can and are just outright feeding you propagandistic bullshit. Then there are, like I said, multitude of ways. There's Venmo up here in the corner. You can take a quick picture of that. Brings you right to the Venmo. You send a buck or two. It goes a long way in helping support independent media. You can sign up at patreon.com, which should be going down the bottom ticker there. For as little as $5 a month, you can help and become a Patreon member there. That gets you involved in our monthly Zoom meetings, which we have one coming up, I believe, in a couple days. So that just kind of gives you another way to meet face-to-face and to shoot the shit and say hi. You can also become a channel member of the YouTube channel just underneath me as well. I believe for $2.99 for the month, you can help, again, go a long way in supporting independent media. You can also super chat, super sticker. You can donate memberships, all that kind of stuff. I really do appreciate all you guys that do that every single show. So before we get into all of the craziness that we're going to cover, why don't we say thank you to the mods first and foremost. Thank you so much for your time and your energy, keeping that chat a safe place and making sure that people can get in get in deep in a conversation without having fear of, people going over the top. So thank you guys. Thank you, M. Red. Thank you, Yakov. Thank you, Roxanne. What's up, Nat? Hey, Forever Young. What's up, Nick? Hey, what's up, Ask? Human Being. What's going on? I love the name. What's up, Gamer? Victor, how are you, my brother? Appreciate you. Hey, Karen. What up, Jay? All you guys. What up, Jim? Denise? Flipper, what's going on? Hey, Veronica, how are you? I appreciate you guys. Yeah, so a lot we're going to be talking about today. A lot going on with ICE, as I'm sure you guys are well aware of. I have clip after clip after clip of recent altercations, mainly instigated by ICE themselves, that we're going to be taking a look at. We also are going to be, Pam Bondi was also getting grilled this morning. So she had to kind of go through it. We'll see if we can get to a couple clips of that. There's a good video here. Let me see if I can kind of throw this on the screen for you guys so you guys can see what I'm actually talking about here. Throw this up there for you. All right, so this is just, again, if you guys could, this is one clip. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another one. I mean, it's just clip after clip after clip of ICE really trying to push the American public over the tipping point. Like, there's only, I've said it time and time again on the show, there's only so far people are going to be pushed, and it's seemingly getting very, very close to that tipping point where people are not going to stand for this shit anymore. Because we feel handcuffed politically, because we feel handcuffed, in the judicial process, because we feel handcuffed because of the lack of power we have and representation in the government right now. People are getting fed up with it, and they're taking matters into their own hands, and I'm not advocating for it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying I want us to be in this position. And again, I did everything possible to try to make everybody aware of what was going to happen if Donald Trump and his fucking assholes were elected, again. And, unfortunately, that's exactly what we're seeing. But how far are we willing to be pushed? How far are we willing to, let our rights be trampled on and watch people be tossed in and out of elevators and punched in the face and shot at with rubber bullets? Right? I mean, it's a fair question. I think it's, we're in that moment right now. What else are we going to be talking about? We'll also be talking about this story that everybody's obviously rightly talking about, the home of the South Carolina judge that Stephen Miller and Donald Trump expressed their outrage over because, she didn't allow the, I believe it was the voting poll or the voting roll to go out and, be used in nefarious ways. So we'll be taking a look at this video as well. There's this one that I'm dying to get to from Status Coup News, and this is titled, "You guys are fucking traitors. A combat veteran sounds off on ICE." And I think it's very important and, very with the times that we should be listening to what this gentleman has to say. Also, Greta Thunberg being released. Everybody's talking about her maltreatment, how she was housed, and obviously bringing, the spotlight on the humanitarian mission in and of itself. So we'll be talking about and looking at what she had to say. And not only that, but Donald Trump has a serious problem on his hands with farmers in this country, because farmers are now increasingly speaking up against his policies, especially the bailout of Argentina and Javier Milei. They are very not happy about that. We'll also be diving into, I don't want to pull it up now because I have to pull up Chat GPT, and I'm afraid it'll just crash the computer. But it's when we get through a few of these things, I want to bring up Acre Trader. I don't know if anybody's heard of Acre Trader, if you're familiar with Acre Trader. But it's got JD Vance's hands on it. It's got Peter Thiel's hands on it, and it seems to be in the best position to go around and scoop up a lot of these farmlands that are now in some serious trouble because of the policies put in place, because of the tariffs put in place by the Trump regime. So it seems like they're kind of trying to screw the farmers on the front and then kind of scoop up their farmland in the back. So we'll be kind of, if there's time, we'll be diving into what Acre Trader is. Like, ask ChatGPT if it could kind of fill me in on a little bit more of the background of it and any nefarious things that we should be paying attention to as it pertains to that company. So lots to talk about, lots to get into. Please hit that like button. Please share the stream. There's also a new Midas Touch video out that dropped, I believe, last night. I forget now. Time flies when you're having fun. But if you could go over and check out the Midas Touch Network, search Boston Brian for the playlist. It should pull up all my videos that I do. And if you could give that a like, a listen, a look-see, would be very much appreciated. So what do you say we get into it? Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody that's gifting, subscribing to the channel. The two main things that you could possibly do are free. So just like the stream and share the stream and subscribe to the fucking channel. All those things doesn't cost a dime. Every single one of those is free. So let's dive right into it. Again, a lot of these are going to be somewhat difficult to watch. They're going to be, anger invoking. They're going to be emotion invoking. But it's very important that we continue to keep the eyes and the cameras on these ICE agents. As I say, hashtag film and follow these people everywhere you can. If you got the time, if you have the ability to, make sure you're getting everything they're doing on camera, because you never know when you're going to get something that might lead to a $50 or $100 million lawsuit that could change somebody's life in one of the worst moments. That they could possibly remember. So here's one of them. So this is a call to activism. And again, we'll be looking at a bunch of different accounts that are posting a ton of different videos. And this one says, ICE violently handcuffed Chicago Alderman Jesse Fuentes just for asking them to show a warrant before detaining a man in a hospital. It's literally her job to stand up for her community. This is what abuse of power looks like. So let's see if we can dive into this first video. And again, this is... Thank you, Nancy. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for kicking this off in the right way. I appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you so much for your unbelievable and continued support, both on Venmo and YouTube. You're amazing, and I can't thank you enough. So I appreciate that. And again, as always, make sure if you're receiving any of these gifted memberships from these incredible people that you're just reaching out and saying thank you for their contributions and the fact that you were able to come up with something financially rewarding from somebody else in the chat. So thank you, Nancy. I appreciate you very much. Okay. Let's see if we can dive into this.
He has constitutional rights.
No.
He has constitutional rights. Do you have a sign?
No.
First off, right off the bat, he's got constitutional rights, she says, and his answer is no. No, he doesn't have constitutional rights. Like, that should be a fucking problem. That should be something we're talking about right off the bat. Just police officers without fucking care. It doesn't matter if there's a camera there. It doesn't matter if they're being filmed or photographed. Just with complete impunity, with complete carte blanche, given the ability and permission to, again, go against the laws of this country, go against the Constitution, tell people that they don't care about the Constitution. They can kick and hit and spit and push and do whatever they want. And they don't care because they've been given, tacit permission by the President of the United States to act just like this.
You need to leave. Turn around. Turn around and leave. I'm going to arrest you. You are going to be placed under arrest.
Do you have a sign?
You need to leave.
Now, as far as I can tell, she's in a public area, which is the hospital, right? She's not creating any disturbance. She's asking them a clear and concise question that is pertaining to the situation. She's not raising her voice. She's not being aggressive. What was aggressive is the way that he reached to go put her in handcuffs. What is aggressive is him saying that this person has absolutely no constitutional right and lying by saying that she's now impeding an investigation by asking simple legal questions. But this is what we're seeing all over the place. Any place that ICE, Border Patrol, or law enforcement agencies are actively working with the federal government, this is the type of actions that we're seeing. And again, how much of this are we going to take? I'm not trying to stoke or create any situations, but at one point, does it just become self-fucking defense of our country, defense of our rights, defense of our Constitution? When obviously our government is actively perpetrating and behind what's going on, as opposed to trying to help the people of this country. Where is the line in the sand? Where are we going to draw that fucking line? And when does this erupt into something much bigger and much more uncontrollable and unsustainable than what we're seeing now? Because that's what these people are pushing for. That's how they're pushing these communities. That's what they're literally forcing these communities into doing in order to protect their fucking people.
Can somebody go in the hallway and get Lisa for me, please? Can somebody go in the hallway and get Lisa for me? This is an older person who's being under arrest.
She's literally just said, do you have a signed judicial warrant for the arrest? All they have to do is either say yes or say no. She's not, again, asking anything that's out of bounds, out of the ordinary, something that she's not allowed to know.
I need my other staffer who's in the hallway by registration to come here, please. Can somebody get my staffer, please?
This is the hospital. Do you have a signed judicial warrant for him? I am asking. I did not touch you.
We told you to leave.
I did not touch you.
Now you're under arrest for impeding.
I did not touch you. I asked you if you had a signed judicial warrant for him. It is very simple. It is very simple. That man has constitutional rights. I did not touch you. It is a public space. I am not trespassing. I am asking you. Do you have a signed judicial warrant? I am asking. Do you have
and she seems to be right on with everything she's saying as far as where she is legally, what she stated legally, her rights legally, the person that she's trying to protect, his rights or her rights legally. You know, and it's, again, this is situations going on all over the country like this.
It is a question, sir. You are an agent. You are a federal agent.
We do not need a
You are a
warrant for
federal
somebody
agent. I am an elected official, and I'm asking, do you have a signed?
What do you say? We don't need a warrant to place somebody under arrest? No, but you do need a reason, right? You know, you can't just round people up. Well, I guess you can, per the Supreme Court. I was going to say, you can't just round people up based on their skin color alone or based on your perception of who they might be and where they might be from. But apparently that's all fucking, we're not America anymore. That's not really a thing, because now apparently these people are allowed to racially profile legally and allowed to detain you based on, I don't know, the color of your skin, your hair color, what you're wearing, how you present yourself, as opposed to having some probable cause or having some actual reason legally to detain you or arrest you. Right? And like I said, it's far from the only video that we're going to see. We're going to see a ton of them here. So let me see if I can pull up this next one. I apologize. The computer's going a little slow because I have so many tabs opened up trying to give you guys this. Let me see. Come on. At some point, it's going to work. I know it will. All right, here we go. So this is posted by Brooklyn Dad Defiant. He says, guaranteed these disgusting, unvetted Gestapo ICE thugs have severe emotional and violence issues. They've probably abused their girlfriends, spouses multiple times. They've endangered the baby in the car. Don't look away. Now, hopefully this plays when I hit the play button. Let's see. Yeah. And I do, again, right off the bat, I know it's Twitter, and I probably have to apologize about the volume discrepancies. It all is based on the people that posted on Twitter as well. So, if this is a little low, I do apologize. But you should be able to get the basic gist of the video just by seeing it. But if you need to crank it up a little bit, and I'll do my best not to interrupt and let the video play. Gun drawn? Right off the bat, gun drawn. And again, I suck at letting the video play. I can already fucking tell you that much. But I'm sorry. But when this guy comes out of a vehicle like this, gun drawn, for what reason? They don't even know why they're being pulled over.
What is he being pulled over for? What is he being pulled over for?
Now, automatically going into breaking the window.
There's a child! There's a baby! There's a baby!
I need his baby, bro. I need my baby, bro. Open the door. I need my baby, bro. I need my baby, bro. I need my baby, bro.
There's a baby. Can you guys have a little bit mercy, dude? He has a 1-month-old. He has a 1-month-old.
Calm down. Just comply. You hear what the officer said? You just smashed out the guy's window. The guy hopped out of the car with a fucking 9mm drawn in his face. What are we talking about here? What the fuck are we talking about? I thought what happened to, like, the cops are supposed to de-escalate and try to make these, interactions and or arrests in the most humane and, like, respectful way. Like, what happened to all that bullshit? We're just popping out of fucking box trucks and vehicles now with 9mm pointed at any car? And then the first thing you're going to do is smash the window as they're being asked why they're being pulled over? They're even, like...
Martín, aquí estamos en el fire stop. Can I ask why he's being detained? Can I ask why he's being detained? Can I ask why he's being detained?
He has an immigration warrant.
He has an immigration. Can I see the warrant signed? Can I see the warrant signed?
Come to the office.
No, I need to see the warrant. This isn't legal. You guys do not have the warrant signed.
This is not
No,
illegal.
you guys do not have not shown us the fucking warrant.
If you come
You
by the
have
office,
no.
come see it.
I want to see it right here. I want to see it right here. You guys don't have the fucking warrant.
Cover my back.
You're stepping his phone. You're stepping on his phone. Give me his phone.
No.
Give me his phone. Give me his phone. I'm asking, give me his phone. I need to call his boss. Give me his phone. Can I have his?
All right, so and then this next one here, posted by Status Quo, is a pretty good one where obviously a Mexican American is telling another Mexican involved with the ICE raids here. I believe this is in Chicago, saying, "Shame on you. How did your family get here? You came without no papers and now you're an American." Angry Chicagoan screams at FBI agent in Brighton Park. Protest erupted after ICE agent shot a Chicago woman they claimed was armed with semi-automatic weapon. This is the stream here. Let me see if I can throw this on the screen.
You're going to use that gun on your people. Shame on you. I hope right now your ancestors are looking at you. Look at you right now, brother. Stand up. Stand up. How did your family get here? How did your family get here? You of all people. You don't walk away, brother. I'm good. Stay there. We can talk. We can talk. My tax money put you in school. You came here without no papers. Now you're an American. Thank you. Out of way to pay us back. We love you, brother. Don't forget that. Everybody take a picture of you. You know why? The internet is so good. No, I'm a public property. You're going to be a movie star. You're going to be a movie star. We're going to show you. Wait a minute. Come over here.
And again, I just remind the ICE agent, this is when people are peaceful. This is the most peaceful it's going to get, right? This is people at their most peaceful. It's only going to get worse from here, and it's only due to the actions of the ICE agents. It's only due to the policies of the Trump administration that it's ever going to get there, or it's ever going to be reversed, and we're ever going to get back to a somewhat state of normalcy. Right. So it's not up to us. It's not up to the people. It's up to how the government and how the fucking law enforcement agencies cooperating and being used as pawns in this political game, how they go on with their service and how they continue to act that justifies or gives everybody else the reason or, the ability to, again, stand up for their own rights. And again, we have more here. This is just, let me see. I think this is from Chicago as well. This is wild scene. Suspected plainclothes officer filmed. Nope, this is D.C. Filmed a D.C. citizen demanding to know where they live. Agent accuses citizen of not being from D.C. because they have a different accent. Witness told me agent had Ohio plates and was possibly carrying a gun or radio underneath his shirt. Let's take a look at this.
We're just checking to make sure.
Where do you live?
I mean, you want my address?
Yeah. Where do you live?
Give you that, but
You live in this community?
Uh-huh.
Where?
And we're just always
Where?
worried when we see folks who don't look like they're from here because
I'm actually from here.
a lot of
Where are
people.
you
Oh,
from?
cool.
You're not
Is this
from here. You have a
your,
different
is
accent.
this your car with the police parking pass?
Actually, it is.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I don't want to interrupt anything if you're doing something important.
Yeah, you're actually
we're just
harassing me.
worried. I'm harassing you. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
standing over here.
No, you've been harassing me all morning. What's your name?
All right. Well,
What's your name?
I don't really know why you need to know.
Oh, I
all
have
that.
witnesses.
That's
You're
great.
following me. You're harassing me.
Well, have a good day. I don't want to harass
Yep,
anybody,
you're
so
harassing me.
I'm keeping
Stop
my
harassing me.
distance.
Bye-bye.
I'm keeping my distance.
Again, with show me your papers. Like, remember when show me your papers was hyperbole? Remember when show me your papers was just fucking liberals and progressives and Democrats being fucking way over the top? Well, we'll never get to that point. That's ridiculous. Well, guess what? If I was Latino, if I was, if I had brown skin, if I in any way looked other than white, I would make sure that I had every bit of identification that I could possibly fucking have, every bit of paper, every bit of fucking, everything that I've gone through with the asylum process or whatever it may be. I would have every single bit of that on me at all times right now. And even sometimes then it's not enough to save you, right? Even being a U.S. citizen isn't enough to save you. And again, the videos go on. Let me see if I can pull this one up. This is from Jay in Kyiv, posted this. Trump's new Gestapo. Let me put this on the screen for you guys. Trump's new Gestapo just randomly beating up members of the press. I'm sure you guys have probably seen, most of you have probably seen this clip, but let's see if we can play this.
Get out the fucking elevator.
Who is that?
Again, this isn't Antifa. This isn't people outside of Portland or Chicago or DC or Memphis. This is the press. This is how they treat the free press, right? So just think of what they'll do to the people they deem as domestic terrorists if this is what they do to the press.
Yeah, give him some room, everybody.
You want to go with the?
Yeah, I got.
If you want to help me right now.
All right.
So taken out in the stretcher because somebody else apparently just thought they could get into what is a public elevator, and apparently ICE deemed that not legal and decided to throw them halfway across the hallway, thus hitting two other people. This guy probably smashing his head on either the wall or the floor. And I'm sure lawsuits will come from this as well. That brings us to this video as well. This was posted by Susie Rizzio, and it says, this is how ICE is just taking people with no warrants, period, even when a lawyer is present requesting it. They just say, we don't need one. This man was there for a hearing. So even when they're there to show up legally for the hearings that they're legally required to show up for, they're still not safe. You're still not guaranteed to have a safe place in this society. So let's see if we can take a look at this, because this is actually when there's a lawyer present asking these people for the legal documents to suggest why they're taking this man, and they still say they don't have to present it. So who the fuck do you answer to? Right? Who do you work for? Because apparently you think you work for the president and the president himself, when that's not how it works. That's not how the system works. That's not how the fucking chain of command works, right? You work for us. You work for the people. The government is supposed to work for the people. It's supposed to be there to help and benefit the people of the society and make their lives better. All right, let's see if we can bring this up. What the fuck? And again, I just want you to pay attention. Look at the look on the kid's face, right? It's pretty much apparent to me that he doesn't understand what's being said, right? He probably doesn't speak much English, and he's looking at his lawyer the whole time for a confirmation, like to save him, to be like, what's going on? Why am I not allowed to leave? Why am I not, allowed to get on this elevator? Like, it's crazy. Look at the look in his face.
Have confirmation of who he is, so you can leave him alone. He's going to remain silent. You have no arrest warrant either, so let's go. Let's go. Let's see the arrest warrant then. You don't have a right to let go of him. Let go of him. Where's the arrest warrant? You don't have to talk to him. Yes, he's not going to talk to you.
He says, step back. We're going to have to talk to him.
He's gonna stay quiet. He's not gonna say anything. You have no confirmation of anything.
Look at him. Already got his. Look at his hand on his fucking. He's already not. He's not letting him go. And then later in the video, you'll see that they have an agent covering the elevator as well to make sure they doesn't. He's not allowed to get in the elevator.
This is the third time pushing down the elevator to go down, and you're preventing us to go downstairs. You're preventing us again. You're blocking
another
the
agent.
elevator. Third time they were trying to go downstairs. You can go. He's coming with me. You have no idea who he is. Let's go. Let's go this way. Again, you're holding him without an arrest warrant. Let's see the arrest warrant, sirs. Let's see the arrest warrant. Let's go.
Look at his face.
Where's the arrest warrant, guys? And what's the reason for the arrest?
Crazy.
Stuff. Let me get his stuff. Let me get his stuff. Just say, shake your head, yes. Thank you very much. Where are we going?
Right, so it doesn't matter. Lawyer present, no lawyer present, asking the right legal questions. And then, just to show it doesn't matter, just to show how fucking violent these people actually are dying to be. Like, they cannot wait for like some sort of small confrontation so they can show and prove to everybody on their own squad just how fucking tough they are. Right. This is posted by Susie again. This guy was standing on the sidewalk, which is public property, doing nothing. And this black, I don't know what that means, from The Walking Dead goes crazy on him. These ICE agents are out of their damn minds. I don't know what that statement means. I apologize if that's in some way derogatory, but I'm not a big Lord of the Rings or whatever the fuck she said fan. So let's see if we can play this.
I'm on a public
So public sidewalk, on the public sidewalk, you can see, and this guy is just, he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to strap his fucking gun around his back so we could act like a tough guy. Watch this.
He's not doing anything. You're saying that.
Grabbed him by the neck. Couldn't get him down. I love it. I love that he couldn't even get him down by himself. He had the upper hand, went in like a bitch for the throat grab, went in without any fucking provocation whatsoever, went in for the hip toss and still couldn't get him down. And now he has to be backed up by the rest of his squad here.
No! He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. No, he's not doing anything.
Over there.
No, he's not. I'm gonna stand right here. He's not doing. I'm
I
gonna
told
stand
you to
right
stand.
here. I'm gonna
Or else
stand
you're
right
next.
here. I'm gonna stand right here. He's not doing anything.
Man, I don't know why they call him Gestapo. I don't know why they call him thugs. I don't know why they call him the fucking brown shirts and the black shirts and the SS. I don't know why. I don't know where on earth people would get that fucking. I don't know where like this whole where's your papers and fucking people going out and being arrested unjustly and illegally and unconstitutional. I don't know where people are coming up with all these fucking with this crazy rhetoric. Because what that's doing apparently is inciting it's not the violence that we're seeing is the violence. That's not inside. The violence isn't inciting violence. It's apparently us on the left accurately calling these people what they are and what they're acting like. That's apparently inciting violence if you want to listen to the right, which is complete and utter fucking bullshit as well, right? And then you got this one. Again, you can go through this video after video after video, which is good. That means people are listening. The citizens are listening. They're saying, hey, you're not getting away with this. I'm going to film every fucking move you make. And even if your boss may say it's okay, the internet and the people of this country may have a fucking different feeling. So I'm going to post it and blast this all over the internet, and we'll let the fucking people decide what they're willing to stand for and how much they're willing to take. And this is Chicago, as you can see, 63rd and Costner Ave, Southside Chicago. I mean, if there's anybody that's ever looked like they're being kidnapped, this is what it looks like. I don't know if you've probably, if you're lucky enough to never have seen being somebody abducted, which hopefully that's everybody. If you've never seen it, maybe in a movie, this is what it looks like when somebody's absolutely in fear for their life and fear of being abducted by people they're not really sure who the fuck they are or what's going to happen in the future. Look at the fear on this guy's face.
La migra. Hey! No!
And this goes on, you know, for the sake of time, I'm going to fast forward, but this goes on. This is a 4.5-minute video. And it goes on.
Hey, get the fuck out of here! Let me see your fucking face, bro. Let him go! Dirty ass motherfucker!
All of that, and they let the guy go. They like, I don't know. I'm confused. Is he a wanted criminal? Is he not a wanted criminal? Is he a gangbanger? Is he a murderer? Because it seemingly looked like you just kind of popped out, saw somebody that may or may not look Hispanic to you, may have been speaking Spanish. You decided to try to kidnap them, throw them in the car. When you realized it wasn't going well after 5 minutes of trying and the whole neighborhood showing up, that you decided to kind of just give up the whole fucking process and hop back in the car. And you know what? Hey, you know what, Nancy? You might not be far off either, Nancy, because Nancy brings up a good point here. Because there has been, and let me see if I can just do this. Let me see, just to kind of corroborate what you're saying. Reports of fake ICE. Let's see here. Because there's been an explosion of reports of people impersonating ICE officers. Here, I'll just kind of put this up because you're absolutely right. Reports of fake ICE officers and incidents related to agency are on the rise, with documented cases of impersonators using guise of authority to commit crimes like kidnapping, robbery, assault, as well as political agitators seeking to intimidate immigrants. To protect yourself, Homeland Security advises verifying agents. Yeah, that's great. That's easy when they won't identify their own, fucking identities. All right, and then there's like, if you look up the news, there's a multitude of news. ICE impersonator incidents rise for Trump's second term. USC's spat of arrests of civilians impersonating ICE officers. False rumors of ICE raids spark panic in U.S. cities. What the fuck? Can I not say cities? Jesus, I think I just had a stroke. Police arrest alleged fake ICE agents amid immigration raids. So, you know what? You might not be wrong, Nancy. You could very well be right that these are just two amateurs that decided to go get their, their little vests and patches and cover their face, because it's impossible for us to know at this point. How do you know? The people that are actually ICE agents feel no need whatsoever to identify themselves. They feel no need to unmask. They feel no need to present warrants. They feel no need to present legal justification for doing whatever action that they're undertaking at the time. So how the fuck do we know when these other people aren't going to give us any identification, right? Like, the fake agents are probably more apt. They're probably more likely to give you some sort of fake identification than the actual ICE and Border Control agents are. So if they show you some fake badge, somebody that's not going to know, somebody that's, again, isn't from this country, hasn't been here that long, doesn't know the laws and the rules and the regulations, doesn't speak English, and you flash some, I don't know, semi-looking official fake badge, though, I mean, you can see how people are getting fooled. You can see how people would be, unsure, even if they are dealing with the correct in actual ICE officers. It's crazy. It's crazy. So let's see here. I know there's a bunch more too, but I think for the sake of time, there was one more. I just want to show. I think there was I just want to show you how they're kind of turning this into their own propaganda theater, right? So let's see here. ICE propaganda video. Let's see here. It's the one where they're like fucking rappelling down from the top of the building, and they get the Black Hawk helicopters. I think was that August? I think Kyle Kalinske I think he may have posted it. Let's see here. If I can't find it real quick, I think I'll send you on the way, but you can find one out there of ICE and Border Patrol that have put out this kind of highly edited video that's going out of different clips of their raids with music behind it, and they're trying to make it look like it's provocative, and trying to make it look like they're like it's an enticing job to do, and like they're out there doing the Lord's work, and it's just a bunch of absolute bullshit. But now you're starting to see more and more going out with these ICE officers. Let's see here. Going out with these ICE officers is more and more film crews, like more and more cameras. And I'm not talking like people with iPhones. I'm talking like serious photography on gimbals that are made to get the best shots in 4K. Let me see. I'll put this on the screen that you guys can kind of flip through it with me. But let's see. There's a ton of them. Which one's this? This is October 2nd. This is 100% correct amount of derision and scorn Trump's masked ICE thugs deserve. Face those fascist assholes. Tell them to stay out of your neighborhoods. Again, video after video after video being put online. It's amazing. It really is to see this going on, and how rapidly this happened, right? And how quickly this fucking happened is pretty crazy as well. There's the one that we watched earlier where the guy jumps out with the gun. Let's see here. If I don't find it, we'll just move on. But I think you guys, it shouldn't be too difficult to find if you guys have the time. All you got to do is type in like ICE propaganda video, Blackhawks, rappelling down, and you'll see just what I'm talking about. And then there's a few videos from Chicago that you could look at that have been recently put online. Here it is. I think this is it right here. Yeah, here it is right here. I think this is it. Ready? This is the propaganda they're putting out. Right, so I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you guys kind of get the gist. But now if we go, it shouldn't be too far away from here. If you kind of put in like ICE with cameras, maybe you should be able to see a what looks to be a line of ICE officers kind of before they're being sent out into the streets. And you can see as they're going by the camera that's taking the video, two more cameras go by, big, huge cameras on gimbals, and then a third and a fourth guy filming the whole thing, both on iPhones and with another camera. So it's like, what are you guys actually doing this for? Are you actually doing this for the propaganda use? Or are you actually doing this for like what? Your Instagram, your TikTok? Like the guy that put the fucking gun behind his back and decided to act like a big tough guy, and he couldn't even get the citizen that he attacked unprovoked on the ground without seven of his other ICE official buddies there to help him down. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, again, this is no different than what you would have seen in 1930s and 40s. Like, it's not anything different. They would have done the same thing. Joseph Goebbels would have been right there getting these propaganda videos. Like, don't think that he didn't send these teams out to different specific parts of whatever battlefront he wanted to cover, whether it be the Eastern Front, the Western Front, the Jewish problem that he would have talked about. Like, he went out there and he made sure that those film crews, Lenny Riefenstahl, the same thing, made sure that they got only the best shots and made it only look like they were doing the best work, when in reality we knew exactly what they were doing. In reality, it just looks a lot like you beating innocent people up and slamming people on the ground and throwing reporters and arresting U.S. citizens and people actually showing up for their asylum cases to make sure that they follow the process by the letter. Seems like still the majority of the people that they've sent out or arrested have minimal to zero criminal record, as far as I've seen. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, Peter, thank you so much. Holy shit, for the 50 gifted memberships, dude. Holy shit. Thank you, brother. That's fucking incredible. I appreciate that so much, Peter. It's always great to see you. You always come in hot and heavy, bro. I love it. He always comes in with authority. He means it. You know what I mean? If he's going to hop in a chat, he's going to make it fucking mean something. And I appreciate Peter. I appreciate you for that, my man. I do. Thank you so much. That is incredibly huge. And to all 50 people in the chat that are now lucky enough to get a membership, please not only thank Peter for his incredible kindness and the contribution, but please think about re-upping those memberships if in a month you continue to find yourself coming back for either all of the episodes that we do throughout the week, or even just a couple of the episodes, whatever it may be. If you find some value, you find some entertainment, you find some humor in the show, please think about re-upping on that membership. It goes a long way in making sure that we're able to continue to do this, and we don't see that sharp decline when amazing people like Peter are kind enough to give a substantial amount of membership, so it can fluctuate at the same time. So thank you so much, Peter. I really do appreciate that, and please make sure everybody's thanking Peter for his kindness. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that. All right, so on to the next story. We're going to do this video here because if I cover any more of ICE or Border Patrol and that bullshit, I'm going to fucking lose my mind and or get kicked out of the country and YouTube. So what do you say we throw this on the screen? Because obviously this is a story that a lot of people are talking about as well, as we've been continued to talk about, political violence in this country and, stochastic terrorism and the words and rhetoric of both, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, and all of these other politicians absolutely do have an impact, absolutely do have an effect, as we've seen in the past, as we know from the extensive accounting of right-wing violence in this country. But yeah, this is the South Carolina judge that luckily was on a walk at the time when her dog, but unfortunately husband was still home. I believe he had to jump from, higher up in the house and was injured in the process, but a massive fire engulfed the home of a judge in South Carolina. People inside jumped out of the windows and got into kayaks and brought them to safety. State investigators have not said how the fire started, but released a statement in part saying at this time, there is no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set. NBC News' Aaron Gilchrist reports, if it wasn't intentionally set, then it's the world's biggest fucking coincidence that the president and J.D. Vance and other people like Stephen Miller have been expressing their displeasure, expressing their hate for not only the judge and her, and her findings, but also other people in the political sphere that we've actively seen retribution be seeked upon. None of which, not the least of which being Melissa Hortman, the representative that was murdered with her husband, as an active list that a MAGA nut had, trying to run down his hit list, right? So it's like we don't have to go that far back in order to kind of, combat the bullshit talking point coming from the right that it's like Democrats and left-wing violence that is like the number one issue in this country. But this is just a short minute and a half clip kind of depicting what happened and what they know so far in this investigation. I mean, look at the house is just that's gone. Like that's a complete fucking and total loss. That is just completely engulfed. So if it was if it wasn't intentionally set, it shouldn't be too difficult to figure out where it started. So let's see what they find out.
You can hear the thing burning. Tonight, the cause of this massive blaze that destroyed the home of a South Carolina judge is under investigation. The house in Edisto Beach, an hour from Charleston, went up in flames on Saturday. Crews from several fire...
Great point too, Peter. Great point. We saw Shapiro's home. Similar event, right? A similar event.
Departments raced to get it under control.
We saw the black smoke and knew that was a house, but I didn't know if it was something that was spreading down here or further up or if it was isolated.
Fire officials say 3 people escaped through an elevated first-floor window. That house sat inside a gated community here, and as you can see, it is surrounded by marshland. Those 3 people who escaped the fire had to be rescued by kayak and canoe. One survivor was airlifted.
Well, you would think that, it's a gated community. I've lived, I know areas pretty much, a lot like this in Marshfield, Massachusetts. You have areas pretty much like this where you got one bridge in and out, you got one road in and out, and, a lot of it looks like this. So typically those communities are tight-knit communities. Typically those communities talk with one another. So it shouldn't be too difficult in order to figure out if somebody that was unfamiliar, that wasn't, normally seen in the area, was in the area, because, again, they're either going by boat, which, a lot of people obviously have boating activity, you can see, which would have been noticed right off the bat, or they're going by vehicle, which, again, you would think would have been noticed right off the bat. So, again, it's hard to say, but, I don't know if anything's come out since. If there's been any more information released in this, please let me know in the chat above and beyond what this video tells us.
Charleston Hospital. The home is owned by Circuit Court Judge Diane Goodstein and her husband, a former Democratic state senator. Judge Goodstein was recently involved in a high-profile ruling temporarily blocking South Carolina from turning over voter information to the Department of Justice. State investigators haven't said how the fire started, but late today released a statement saying, in part, at this time there is no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set. Still, earlier today, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham expressed concerns about political violence.
No matter what your beefs are, violence is an unacceptable response to political differences.
Is he shit-faced? He sounds shit-faced. He sounds shit-faced. But again, I feel like it's pretty, like it's irresponsible for, anybody, I think, to be, I don't know. In my opinion, we don't know anything, right? Like it's a big coincidence at this point, but until we know anything, for politicians to come out and be like, to be blaming this, that, or the other is I think pretty reckless, especially in such a heated moment. Like, I don't know. Wouldn't it be better that we wait and figure out like what actually happened before we go demeaning in putting people on blast? That would be my thought, because again, if it was intentional, if there was somebody that had some nefarious acts, we're sure to find out. Like, we're sure to find out, especially in that type of community, in an area like that. I think it wouldn't be too long for us where people have video cameras and Ring doorbells for this investigation to produce some sort of evidence to suggest, yes, this was done by some nefarious means. And then we can start getting on the, bandwagon of, okay, let's figure out how and why and, how this was perpetrated. But again, to go on and immediately be talking about, for Republicans to immediately be going on and trying to use this as justification of their, in furtherance of their, the left isn't responsible for the majority of the violence is kind of stupid, in my opinion, kind of reckless and dangerous. But all right, so this kind of goes back. This brings up our next story here. Let's put this on the screen for you guys, because this kind of goes back to what we were looking at with the ICE videos earlier. This is put up by Status Coup News on YouTube. It is entitled, "You Guys Are Fucking Traitors. Combat Veteran Sounds Off on ICE." And I definitely thought that this was something that we need to listen to, pay attention to, and kind of take to heart, because this is very well done by this gentleman. I give him a lot of credit for getting in front of the camera and having the having the guts to get out there and speak his mind like this. So why don't you say we jump into just a little bit of this? We'll also get into, if you're just joining us, we still have more on, Greta Thunberg's release and how, her comments and how she was treated and what we should, how this should kind of progress from here. We also have to talk about the farmers that are pissed with Trump as well. So those stories still to come. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's very free to do so. Very free. Ultimately free. Incredibly free to do so. So please think about doing it. Let me see if I can pop this back on the screen for you guys, and then we'll get into this. All right? Appreciate it.
Out of everybody I despise the most, ICE is capitalist right now. You guys are fucking traitors, man.
You want to see what real independent journalism funded by the people for the people looks like?
You ever heard a story like this in America?
Mainstream media. Covering the important story
of duty. My first one was Operation Sea Signal in Cuba. Operation Joint Endeavor in Bosnia in 1996. Cuba was 95. I did Operation Joint Guard, which was Kosovo in 1999. I did Operation Iraqi Freedom.
So clearly he's just giving you a little bit of his background. Again, gives you a little bit more reason to listen to what he has to say, to give us a little bit of insight into his insights and reasoning why he's saying the things that he's saying on this video. So let's see if we can get into it.
In 2008 in Iraq, and my final tour was in Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom in 2013. And I got to go see the best president in history, Barack Obama, give out the Medal of Honor at the White House in 2014. And I retired under him in 2016.
Do you think we actually have a real democracy to save?
Here's the big problem, guys. It's the fact that America was so fucking corrupt to let his ass back in there. This is so much bigger than Donald Trump. It's the fact that you got somebody that is openly corrupt, openly racist as Trump, and they still bent the knee. That lets you know it wasn't about Trump. He's just the avatar. The country has always been white supremacist. This is the country I grew up with. I remember these white people losing their mind when I first moved in our apartment building in California.
So like we've been saying and been telling you, telling everybody since the start, this is much bigger than just Donald Trump. Donald Trump just gave these people that have been hiding in the fucking, in the background, in the woods, the tacit permission to come out and into the spotlight and to fucking spew these racist, bigoted, the whole range of ists that you could come out with. Like, he just gave them permission and said it's okay and it's the right thing to do now to spew these beliefs, right? So again, that's what he's trying to kind of convey here. We're saying that it's much bigger than Donald Trump. It's the problem that has been, an underlying issue in this country for a long time, and it's just Donald Trump that allowed it to come to the surface, to let it be seen in the light that it's been seen in the last, 10, 15, 20 years, right?
California, called me the horror ER, said I was bringing down the property value. That hatred has always been there. I couldn't leave base in Fort Leonard Wood because of the racism. They didn't want to rent to me in Indiana because of the racism after I did fucking 4 tours for the country. And so now I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, right? Let that shit burn. I don't think someone as corrupt as Trump and his administration are giving up power. I just don't believe that at all. Because the moment he gives up power, his people go to jail. Stephen Miller's going to prison. Everyone who's been doing all of the Navy guys who killed those Venezuelans, them are fucking war crimes. They will hang for that shit. They will spend the rest of their fucking life in prison for killing these people. And so they're going to fight to try to hold on to power.
And he's 100% right. The video that I just did for Midas Touch was on not only the recent Venezuelan strikes, but also the response from Nicolas Maduro and people like the Bolivarian military, the militia that he has that supports the Venezuelan military. Like, they're ready to do battle. Like, they've got sergeants over there ready to say that, if the United States wants to kick off, then we'll make it into a Vietnam a day, right? So against the Constitution, illegally, against maritime law, which is another huge thing that we've yet to talk about. The United States again breaking maritime law, the laws of war, the rules and fucking laws of humanity. Like, there's so many different ways in which we could approach this as being abnormal, illegal, stupid, unjust. Right? Not only just him leading us into this, we've seen the New York Times, as I reported in that Midas Touch video, come out with some great reporting into the insights of Marco Rubio and Donald Trump and how they've been talking about trying to, install a regime change in Venezuela. Like, there's a lot that goes to it. And I did see a message this morning on Blue Sky that kind of said that the U.S. warships have left the area. Is that something that can be confirmed or denied? I did not have the ability before I came on to kind of look that up and see if that were true. But I did see a comment somewhere that said the U.S. warships were apparently in retreat, is what the comment said. But again, I didn't have enough time to kind of confirm nor deny that reporting. So all right, let's continue. But he's 100% right. He's 100% right.
And every one of us needs to be ready to bring that fight to him when the time comes.
Was this something from your childhood or growing up that inspired you to want to serve your country?
The Army, honestly, was always my backup plan. Right? When I was young, I wanted to be an astronaut. I loved sci-fi. I loved science itself. I was obsessed with space travel, believe it or not. But really, when I started going to like different schools, my junior high school was.
Let's skip ahead just a little bit. I just want to get to where he's talking about, his views on ICE and stuff.
Daily basis.
You don't participate, right? Weaponize incompetence. You walk out here, you look good, you be a prop for the government, help people with their luggage, but absolutely do not raise your weapon. As a citizen, don't participate in anything you know is illegal.
He's also got something that we should be kind of considering as well, because you know how we've been talking about on this show that, like, any ICE officer, anybody that's still involved in the National Guard, even though that's kind of a different situation and, you don't have as much leeway or freedom in order to kind of pick and choose where you go, if at all, in that. But, the ICE officers and the Border Patrol, right? We've been asking them to kind of step down, to kind of move aside, to kind of not let themselves be used as political pawns. And this gentleman here kind of has a good alternative idea where it's like, we need the people that know they're being used as political pawns. We need the good ICE officers that still may be in and amongst the ranks. We need those people in there to, to keep an eye on the bad apples and to make sure that they're out there helping people and to give, to make sure that people still know that there are good people involved in these organizations that are out there to help and not hurt and trample on your rights. And it's something that we need to think about, right? It's something that we need to, is it worth having just the worst of these people that want to commit crimes, that want to commit violence, that want to round up brown people? Is it worth it to just have those people in there, or do we need these odd agents and odds officers in there to, again, make sure that they can try to the best of their ability keep their eye on the other officers, maintain some sort of fucking semblance of professionalism, and to, again, show the citizens that there are still, go out there and talk to the people. I think that's what he's bringing up here in this point, where he's like, go out there, look good, talk to the people, help people with their groceries, let them know that there are still good people involved in these agencies, and it's not, it hasn't been fully taken over. And again, I don't know if I'm in full agreement with this, but it is definitely food for thought and something to be thought about, where, again, I've been actively calling for people to put down their weapons and leave ICE if they know they're being used. But again, this is something that we should probably consider as well.
Tell them demons whatever they want to hear up front, but in the streets, and especially I'm talking to the NCO Corps, because the NCO Corps was really what holds the military together. That makes us unique in all armies. The NCO Corps, I believe the non-commissioned officers will hold fast to the Constitution. We know how to play the bullshit game. We've had bad commanders before. We let them do their thing, man. But out here in the real world, especially if they're not the type of commander that lead from the front, they're not going to know what's happening from the field. You send their ass some bullshit report, and by all means, stay the fuck quiet. Do not expose yourself. If you got a grievance, bring it to the veterans. We can talk shit without being subject to the uniform.
So right now he's talking directly to these ICE, officers that still may have somewhat of a heart, may have somewhat of a soul left in their systems. And he's telling them, listen, your bosses aren't stepping foot in the battlefield. If we know anything about these people, it's they're just going to read the report. So if you send them some bullshit report saying you're out here, doing your duties and doing this and cleaning up and doing that, let that go in. But while you're out there, actively engage with the community, actively help people with their groceries and their luggage or whatever it may be, right? Like actively try to impede the progress while from the inside, right? As opposed to removing yourself from the position of power that you have and trying to act on the outside. We may have more, we may have more pull. We may see more success from having these people on the inside kind of try to, throw a wrench in the works, as opposed to us on the outside, right?
Go to military justice. But we need you there. Somebody with a fucking conscience got to still be here to hold the line. And I understand that it's terrible for you. It's terrible to see people. It's terrible to see democracy burn around you, but you really are a last line defense. And for you kidnappers known as ICE agents, understand this. You will never be fucking forgiven for your crimes, ever. The soldiers, I can understand. They took an oath. They're duty bound to be there. They can't just quit. You could fucking reclass tomorrow and go work for FEMA or do something else. If you choose to put a mask on, if you choose to send people to concentration camps, if you choose to do that shit, you will be a mortal fucking enemy forever. When that fucking demon is gone from the White House, you will be hunted, just like you hunted them. You will be hunted. You will never have a fucking moment of peace.
Oh,
period.
Oh, inject that. Hold on, I need that
despise the
again.
most.
Inject that into me. Inject that into my veins right now.
You choose to do that shit, you will be a mortal fucking enemy forever. When that fucking demon is gone from the White House, you will be hunted, just like you hunted them. You will be hunted. You will never have a fucking moment of peace, period. Out of everybody I despise the most, ICE is at the top of the list right now. You guys are fucking traitors, man. And the fact that you let Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and all these fucking insurrectionists on the team, that lets you know, man, listen, I'm gonna tell you something too, to you Proud Boys. I don't give a fuck if that felon anoints you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We're not gonna recognize that shit in these streets. Understand that shit. So when you come out here, be ready for those one-way missions. All right, it's all fun and games until you deal with heavily armed veterans who are willing to match and see your energy. Hell will flash trees over before I let anybody in my family be taken. Period. I don't give a fuck. And you could tag that fake ass God of War himself. Fuck him too. Right? I don't give a damn about any of these demons, man. ICE is an absolute scourge. You should hold your head in shame forever for the shit you're doing. You will never be forgiven for that shit. If you had Australian dignity, you will reclass tomorrow. Sorry, guys. That shit just pisses me off, man. Can't stand these fucking demons, man.
It's got to come from the heart.
Yeah, I cannot
hear
stand these guys, man. I watch, people out here running for their fucking life, man. That lady in Walmart running for like hours, man, hiding. And notice they're going after people who working.
Yeah.
Right? They sat here. Immigration itself is really about white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just cut to the chase. Immigration has always served to keep America white. They tell you whatever bullshit lie from Operation Wetback. This goes back in history. So we know now you really see what America's about. They put
and we've talked about that operation, that same operation here on Blunt Politics. Years ago, we brought that up. The racist immigration policy from Eisenhower, again, with the racist name, right? That went after immigrants in this country, that ended up rounding up United States citizens in this country. Like, again, it's one-off history. I don't know. It's people say history may not fucking repeat, but it sure as fuck rhymes. I don't know. I'm saying it may fucking repeat as well. Let me see here, because he's talking about them going after the workers, and I think there's a video going around of them kind of taking out or trying to attack somebody in a Walmart. That looks like he's just working at the Walmart as well. Well, it's amazing. You can type in ICE brutality, and the amount of videos that come up is just fucking disturbing. It's crazy. But I'm sure it wouldn't take you guys long to find on social media. It looks like he's wearing a yellow Walmart vest. And again, 3, 4, 5 different ICE agencies or Border Patrol, whatever they are, decide to swarm him and take him out of the store. But yeah, I mean, please show me where this guy is wrong. Where was he wrong? Show me the lie. Show me where he's incorrect. Like, where do we draw the line? Where is the line drawn? And I'm not calling for it. I don't want to be in this situation. But if we do not react and respond properly to the situation, then we're only inviting this to get much, much worse. We're only giving them permission to make it much, much worse. And I do truly, truly believe that. Yes, and I mean, I don't know if they feel powerless, because again, you got to think the people working at Walmart, what are they getting paid, right? What are they getting paid? So are they really in a position to be sitting there, not, standing in front of 7, 8, 9, 10 armed ICE agents? And I'm not saying that's not happening, but it's like, at what point do they not have the incentive to kind of put themselves in harm's way? And who knows what their immigration status is? Who knows what their last name is? If their last name is Sanchez or whatever, even if they are legal, they could be putting themselves in harm's way too. And you don't think the Walton family is going to come out with a statement against ICE anytime soon, right? Which, again, is another reason why these employees probably don't find themselves having much power, because I'm sure they know they won't be backed up when it comes time for the Walton family, for the company to have their back. So they're kind of in a shit spot too. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just give me another second to see if I can try to find it, because there are a lot of videos of other just random people getting pulled out of Walmarts as well. So they kind of all blend together when you try to. Let me see. Give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Just give me a second. See if I can pull it up. Because like I said, trying to sift through all of these different videos to pull up one specific one is getting more and more difficult, because every single day more and more of these videos are being put on the internet. And it's good to see. It's good to see on one side the community doing what they're supposed to do and doing everything that they can do, and at least filming and making sure that this is all being recorded for history's sake. Because again, and that's another thing that I want to talk about with you guys. Like, it's so hard to like how do you even approach this conversation? Because it's like Freddie Oversteegen, right? The resistance members in World War II, like these young girls in this example who were known for luring Nazis into the woods and taking their lives and making sure that they don't go on to harm anybody else, right? Like, were they thought of were they thought of as murderers at the time? Were they thought of as delinquents that were causing chaos in society, or was society already so chaotic and we look upon them as heroes? Like, we look back on these people as being heroes, like the Jewish resistance that rose up in Warsaw. Like, they went on to brutally, they did brutal shit in order to fucking to break out, and they killed people in horrible ways. But it's like, was that a bad thing when people rose up? Like, when in times in history, in countries all over the world, when the citizenry rose up, like, bad things have happened. The buildings have caught on fire. People have been injured. People have lost their lives. But when you look back on those moments, it's like, you look back on it as something that was necessary, that the people needed to do. It was necessary at that moment. And yes, was there collateral damage? And yes, is it horrible to see that? And yes, is it horrible for a country to be in that position? Absolutely. But when you look back on these things historically, you don't look like you're not living it as you would kind of look at it if you were living in the moment, right? So it's like, now we look at these, you got people out there being like, oh, these ICE and Antifa thugs. I mean, the Antifa thugs out there dressed in black and holding flags and doing this and that. And it's like, well, yeah, we kind of, a lot of people don't like to see that right now, but is it like, will we look back on this moment in 15, 20 years as something that was absolutely necessary and probably should have taken place long before? Like, who knows? I don't know. I don't know how history is going to be written. Like, I don't know how this moment is going to be written about. But I have a hard time believing that individual acts of aggression towards people that are stripping your rights are going to be remembered in the long run, when history looks back upon this as not just a moment where the citizens united themselves and rose up against an authoritarian dictatorial regime, at a moment where their government was actively working against them, was actively working to harm them on the world stage, was actively creating rifts between you and your allies, actively trying to get closer to our enemies, actively trying to shred the Constitution, actively trying to take rights away from people of color, women, the trans community, actively trying to strip veterans that served our country, that sacrificed their fucking entire lives, of their benefits. Like, at what point? I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to kind of put my finger on it and say, like, okay, like, this is the moment that people will recognize as the moment that the government went too far, where, the line was crossed, where fucking, the battle lines have been drawn, and people need to start fucking marching. Right? Even when we talk about peaceful protests, even when we talk about, there's always that odd event where, people can point to it as a mostly peaceful protest. Like, even in those moments where we express our rights in the right way, there's always that odd moment that, that people look upon to kind of, but in the grand scheme of things, won't they just remember the people marching? Won't they just remember the people holding hands and marching arm in arm to the fucking, to dispute what this government is now perpetrating upon them and to other people in our country? Like, it's not even me. It's not even me that's feeling the effects. I mean, as far as the economy, as far as tariffs, as far as the rise in costs and stuff, absolutely. But not as far as ICE and Border Patrol and the crackdown on people of color and, immigrants. That's not something that I go outside and I'm worried about. But I still find it necessary to speak up about. I still find it incredibly important to make to make sure that we are highlighting this moment, to make sure that this is being recorded for history, and making sure that we can do and save and help as many people as humanly possible and affect change as soon as possible, so that the least amount of people are affected by either the lack of health care, the strips, the cuts in cancer funding, cancer research funding for kids, or FEMA or USAID or whatever it may be. But the list goes on, and it's like it's hard to kind of in 2025 pinpoint the moment, or the line in the sand where it's like, okay, enough is enough, and it's now time for the people to fucking rise up together, whatever that looks like, whatever that means. And again, this is not what I'm calling for. This is not what I'm asking for. It's just a conversation on how do you know when the time is? How do you know what history is going to say when you look back upon when it looks back on this moment? So I don't know. I don't know if that's too philosophical. I don't know if that's too in depth, but something that I think about a lot, where it's like, there must have been a turning point in the 30s, in the 40s, where, society on the whole was just like, okay, no more, where the people of France or the people of Poland or the people of, Russia, or the people of Ukraine, where they were just like, okay, enough is enough. I'm tired of being jerked around by one side or the other side. I'm tired of having this genocidal madman on one side and this genocidal madman on the other. I'm tired of having my home stolen. I'm tired of having my villages burnt. I'm tired of seeing my family thrown into fucking meat grinder after meat grinder. Like, enough is enough. I want some rights. I'm tired of having my, the food that I grow on my farms. I'm tired of having that stripped and stolen, and either for the German military or for fucking Putin's military or Putin's hierarchy or whatever the fuck it may be. Like, enough is enough. Like, there must have been a time where it was like everybody kind of mentally was thinking the same thing, right? So it's kind of hard to, again, distinctly put your finger on what that moment is, and if you're making the right decision in calling for the uprising of the fucking citizenry to put their foot down, to come to some sort of general strike, to make these no kings and hands off, and to make this one big march, one big protest after one big protest that shuts shit down, that actually causes a stir, that actually causes some fucking harm in the stocks, that actually causes these corporations and different companies harm in their fucking wallets. Right? Like, like, at what point are we there? I don't know. But all right, on to the next. That should be a discussion for the chat. Should be a good discussion for the chat, but see if that kicks off anything in there. But yeah, let's see if we can bring up this one, because this is the next story that I wanted to talk about. Talking about the release of the people of the Samud Global Flotilla, highlighting what Greta Thunberg said that she went through in her experiences being held in captivity. But she also here had a statement. I think she also put out a message on Instagram. I'll see if I can pull that up as well. But let's see if we can just dive into her statement here upon her release from Israeli captivity here.
Okay, let me be very clear. There is a genocide going on in front of our very eyes. A live-streamed genocide on all of our phones. No one has the privilege to say we are not aware of what's happening. No one in the future will be able to say we did not know. Under international law, states have a legal obligation to act to prevent and to stop a genocide from happening. That means ending complicity, applying real pressure, and ending arms transfers. We are not seeing that. We are not even seeing the bare minimum from our governments. Our international systems are betraying Palestinians. They are not even able to prevent the worst war crimes from happening. And I will never, ever comprehend how humans can be so evil that you would deliberately starve millions of people living trapped under an illegal siege as a continuation of decades and decades of suffocating oppression, apartheid, and occupation.
I'm not a linguist or an expert, but I would kind of assume that to be Israeli protesters trying to drown out whatever she's saying. I could be wrong on that one. Thank you, Ruben. I appreciate that, brother. SCOTUS Justice Kavanaugh gave ICE a green light to target the Hispanic population. That's what I was saying earlier, where it's, I was going to say it's not something that usually the United States takes part in, where you can just kind of racially profile people based on their looks, their skin color or what they're wearing, their appearance alone. But, again, I made it sure to say that the Supreme Court kind of doesn't agree with that anymore, and we're not kind of really living in real times. Like, we're now living under martial law. We're now living under fucking, what would have happened in Germany after the Reichstag fire. Now these laws, I mean, Donald Trump was on with Greg Kelly talking about how he wants to he's thinking about invoking the Insurrection Act, as well as continuing to send these troops into places that are unrequested, unwarranted. It's crazy. It's crazy. And let me just see, because I know, without interruption, this is probably going to be a little bit easier to understand. This is just her Instagram message that she put out. So let me see if I can just play this, and then I'll see if I can get on to what was the other one that we wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, the farmers, and then I'll see if I can pull up the Greg Kelly interview as well, where Donald Trump went on to lie a few times and then talk about invoking the Insurrection Act to give himself even more power than he already has. So let's see if we can play. What was I playing? This one? Yeah, this one.
Do not let me and other volunteers on the flotilla be a distraction. And what Israel did was mainly not to illegally abduct us in international waters and abuse us in prison, but it was that it stopped a humanitarian mission and violating international law by preventing humanitarian aid from entering Gaza, a population that are being systematically starved by Israel. And this is a blatant violation of international humanitarian and maritime law. Israel does not have immunity from international law, even though it might seem like it from their genocidal propaganda. No human being is worth more than any other, and that also applies to Israelis. Israel think they can get away with only recycling their old arguments and smear campaigns to justify their atrocities without addressing the evidence of them committing a genocide. But the world sees through their desperate lies. Terrorism is defined as the calculated act of using violence to incite fear in a population for political control. Is that really what this peaceful humanitarian mission carrying food, medicine, baby formula in line with international law was doing? One can really ask who the real terrorist is here. The war criminals have hate, lies, and weapons. Justice will prevail. Free Palestine.
Because that was the message that she put out. And again, just to kind of reiterate, you've heard it. We brought it up earlier in the show. I'll see if I can even make this a little bit bigger. How's that? A little bit better. So maritime law, right, or admiralty law is a body of law that governs maritime activities, including shipping, navigation, and the resolution of disputes related to these activities on navigable waters. It covers areas like vessel operation, marine pollution, personal injury to maritime workers, international trade disputes. Maritime law is a blend of international and domestic statutes, regulations aimed at ensuring safety, environmental protection, and a stable framework for commerce and navigation on the world's waterways, right? So you can see vessel operations are covered, navigation and shipping, marine pollution, personal injury, marine insurance, salvage and wrecking, international law, regulations for activities on the high seas such as piracy, territorial disputes, and trade, right? So if you got a territorial dispute, if you got problems with piracy or problems with trade, then there's maritime law that you need to follow. There's different rules and regulations that dictate what you can and can't do on international waters. There's different legislations here: the Jones Act, Longshore and Harbors Workers' Compensation Act, Safety and Security, Environmental Protections, Commerce Stability, Dispute Resolution offers mechanisms for resolving conflicts and claims arising from maritime commerce and navigation, which obviously one could assume would accurately describe the transport of drugs into the United States through international waters by vessel, like would be something that would be governed under maritime law, something that you can't just take into your own hands to do yourself. So just kind of give everybody a little refresher. All right, what was the next one that I wanted to? Oh yeah, this one. And then this is something I wanted to talk about. Because Donald Trump's got himself a little spot of bother. He's got himself a little spot of bother, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a little spot of bother because he's not doing so well with the farmers, right? The people that you think would be the most Trump, the most fucking pro-Trump, the most, kind of forgiving of Donald Trump. I don't know why, considering what they went through in Donald Trump's first term and first administration, but we're going to get into just a little bit of this, which kind of shows a few videos from throughout the internet of different farmers throughout the country expressing their anger and frustration with Donald Trump. And then I want to bring up ChatGPT, and then we'll talk about Acre Trader just a little bit, and J.D. Vance's involvement and Peter Thiel's involvement, and just what might be going on in the background on the back end of, again, a lot of these farmers potentially losing their land because of tariffs, because of drop in prices, in just trade and commodity altogether, right? So let's see if we can just get into a little bit of this. Get that one out of here. Get that one out of here. Make this one a little bigger for you guys, and we'll get right into it.
Because of tariffs, we're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever have made. And by the way, we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, just to get off the subject for a second. We're going to take some of that tariff money that we made. We're going to give it to our farmers.
All right, so let's see if we can just kind of put that in perspective for everybody. Donald Trump, whose policies are now actively and negatively impacting the farmers, right? Which tariffs are very much a part of. So those things that Donald Trump's administration have put in place that are actively and negatively affecting the farmers, he's now going to use this made up, this fantasy 17 billion or a portion of it to help the farmers that were originally hurt by the policies and the tariffs originally put in place by Donald Trump. Wait a minute. How does that sounds very similar to how it went in the first term. Remember when Donald Trump needed to bail out the farmers, right? Because of his policies, because of, and then remember the 3-part deal that China was supposed to buy a bunch of soybeans and this and that, and they didn't even fulfill the first part of the deal, which resulted in more farmers being hurt. So we're going to use this fantasy tariff money to help the farmers, and the farmers were only negatively impacted because of the tariff policies and the policies put in place by. Does this make sense? Is this fucking merry-go-round? Does it stop at any point so I can get the fuck off? Like, what are we doing? And he's like touting it. He's like, yeah. He's like, all the farmers that were hurt by and negatively impacted by all those shitty policies that I put in place? Well, don't worry, because the fantasy money we haven't taken in, I'm going to give that to the farm. It's like, why'd you put the policies in fucking place in the first place then? You just left them where they were. Oh, my God. All right. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. It's just like how ridiculous that statement is. It's like, yeah, don't worry. Those, I know I caused the fucking pain and the suffering of the farmers, but don't worry. The fake revenue that we got from the pain and suffering is going to, I'll just give it back to you. How about this?
Who are for a little while going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit. So we're going to make sure that our farmers are in great shape because we're taking in a lot of money. We're finding the other day, it was very interesting. They found $31 billion. They said, sir, we found 31. I said, you mean positively, right? They said, yeah, 31 million more than we knew. And
million or billion? Because it sounded like the first time you said billion. Second time sounded like you said million. Just gonna have to ask you to specify on that one because kind of a difference between million, billion, big one.
They said,
but they just found it on the shelf. It was hidden in one of Trump's shoes. He said, hey, you guys see this? I didn't see this check for 37 billion million.
We don't know where it came from. I said, check the tariff shelf. They came back the following morning. They said,
you're right, sir. It was on the tariff shelf, right next to the Epstein shelf, right next. It was right behind the Epstein shelf, right in front of that shelf with all of your daughter's swimsuit pictures. No, you're young. No, the other. Yep, that one.
You're right, sir. It came from the tariffs. We've never seen anything like this. So what we're going to be doing is we're.
No, I don't think he said it was. I think he just said somebody stumbled on 37 billion million. Somebody just in his administration was like, hey, sir, we found $37 billion million. You know where that came from? And he was like, yeah, check the tariff shelf. Maybe it came from the tariff shelf.
Going to be taking some money from all of the tariff money that we've taken, and we're going to distribute it to our farmers until the tariffs kick into their benefit, which ultimately the farmers are going to be making a fortune.
Farmers are going to be making a fortune. All right. So why don't you say we hear from those farmers? Let's go. Let's hear from them.
It's a process of it has to.
American workers and American taxpayers have been taken advantage of.
Listen to this listen to this rationalization here. This guy is basically saying he's willing to give up his entire income and his ability to take care of his family because he wants to see Donald Trump be proven right, is basically the gist of this whole thing. Listen to this fucking nonsense.
For multi-generation, for decades. And it's time for somebody to stand up and put us first and put the country first and do what's best for the country, not what's best for the politicians.
Even if you as a farmer suffer.
That's right.
What the fuck? What? Bro, you just said things that make your life better, things that make and help you and not the politicians. And the lady goes, even if that means that you have to suffer, damn right. Like, what? Wait a minute. I didn't quite hear when you guys were voting for Trump in the election that you were voting to suffer. Like, I didn't hear any of the farmers getting together and being like, you're voting to suffer, right? I'm voting to suffer. You voting to suffer? I'm voting to suffer. I can't wait to suffer. Prices are going to go down. China's not going to, they're going to buy everything they possibly can from Venezuela. It's going to be great. I ain't going to make shit. My family's going to starve to death. This is going to be fucking fantastic. Vote for Trump, everybody. Vote for Trump. You voting to get screwed? I'm voting to get screwed, baby. Like, what? I didn't hear any of that. I must have missed that.
I mean, some people would hear that and be quite surprised that you're prepared to put your livelihood, your family's livelihood on the line for the sake of...
Does your family know that? I'm just curious. Have we interviewed fucking Betsy and Betty Ann? Like, can we get Tommy Joe on the horn here and be like, hey, do you guys know that your father's willing to put your entire livelihood on the line so that he can prove some fucking ridiculous point that voting for Donald Trump was the right move? Like, did you guys know that? Yeah, right. Ben, right, exactly. Exactly, butterflies. Exactly. And they're just like, they're right now, basically what they're saying is, I will bend over and pull my own pants down. Like, you don't even have to do it. I don't even need Donald Trump to come here and undo my belt. I'll take them shits down right now, bend over my tractor tire. He'll be good to go. Unreal.
Politics.
Well, that's my duty as for being the head of my household. I've got to do what I got to do.
It's your duty. Just think about what's going on. I don't know. Am I getting dumber by the day because I listen to this shit? I don't fucking know. I don't know. He's saying it's his duty as the head of the household to put himself in a position where he suffers and the rest of his family suffers. You know, I always thought it was the job was to provide for your household and make sure that they had, adequate school and adequate fucking food and adequate shelter and adequate education, right? I said school, so probably I should get adequate education myself. But anyways, you know what I mean. But I thought it was like those whole things teach them life lessons. And, I thought that was how to be the head of the household. But apparently it's how to make your family suffer. The more you can make your family suffer, the better head of the household you're going to be.
It's going to be better for the future, better for the kids. It's not about today.
Was that butter or better? You're going to make butter for the future? You must be a dairy farmer. Okay, I get it.
About the long term. The long game is where the rewards are going to be.
But don't the price of tariffs and what happens in commodity markets like soybean, doesn't that affect you in the short term and affect your ability to provide for your family?
Look,
the answer is yes. So I know he said with a long pause, and then the first thing he said was, look. What he meant to say was, yes, you're 100% right, but let me see if I can talk my way out of this bullshit in a way where my wife ain't going to smack me upside the fucking head with a cast iron skillet as soon as I walk through them front fucking doors.
Tariffs will probably have a detrimental effect on soybean price in the near future. In the long term, it'll probably work out. I'm a farmer.
Jesus Christ. So he's 100% sure that Donald Trump's tariffs policies are going to have a negative impact on soybean farmers right off the bat. But he's just a hoping and a wishing and a praying and a thinking and a wishing and a hoping that in some time in the near future or down the line when he's dead and gone and buried in his own fucking field that ain't worth a lick of shit right now. So at some point he's hoping that it's going to come. Things are going to turn around. We're going to maybe when my great grandson's at that age where he can buy his first tractor, maybe by then we'll get everything turned around. But no, right now I know it's going to have a negative impact, ma'am. I do. It's like, okay, so what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I deal with bad weather. I deal with dry weather. I deal with.
What was that? What they would drive what?
I'm a farmer. I deal with bad weather. I deal with dry weather. I deal with.
I honestly didn't know that was a way to say weather. I know I say weather really strangely, you know, for most people's fucking ears, but I did not. I didn't even know that was a way to say weather. I did not even know. But let me just kind of go ahead and say, with all the things and the hardships that farmers rightly have to face, and they absolutely do. So this is no, you know, slight against farmers or anything like that. But you know, this is me not having much empathy and compassion towards people that voted themselves into this position, right? So please fucking forgive me if you don't see tears streaming down my face and empathy pouring out of my asshole for people that voted themselves into this position and continue to justify the vote that they clearly know is going to negatively impact themselves, their fucking their entire region, their co-workers, you know, the people living across the street and their families. So please fucking forgive me if I'm not like sitting here with like compassion and empathy for this guy. But what I do want to say is I do understand the hardships to a point. Obviously, I'm not a farmer myself, but I am well aware that farmers do have to face an inordinate amount of hardships beyond what they have to face with regulations and pricing and government policies, right? So it's like I asked this guy, with all the things that you have to face with this weather, with the bad weather and the torrential weather and the fucking hurricanes and all that shit, like why would you want to add to that? Like, what, don't you already face enough problems and enough hardships where you would want your government to put you in the best financial position to make a profit instead of screwing you and sending money to Venezuela, right? Like, I'd like to know if this was before or after he found out that the money was being sent to Venezuela. Oh wait, I keep saying fucking Venezuela. Am I getting that wrong? I feel like I'm getting that wrong with my with the video that I put out. Javier Milei. Argentina? Fuck, now I'm getting them all mixed up. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Javier Milei, the guy with the fucking chainsaw. I keep saying Venezuela, but I think that's because of the boats that Trump's taken out. So my apologies. But I'd like to know if this was before or after, because that's a direct smack in the face, especially after they've seen the tariffs kind of take hold, after they've seen the prices decrease in what they can and can't sell already. But to see that, our government is willing to help out again, these foreign governments where they said they were going to be America first, I'd like to think that these people that voted for Trump would have an issue with that, right? Argentina, right? Okay, thank you, Al. My apologies. Venezuela was in my head because of the recent strikes on the fishing boats and the video that I just did for Midas Touch. So my apologies. I don't like giving false or incorrect information to you guys, but I was getting them both mixed up. My bad.
Torrential rains. We deal with hurricanes. What's a tariff going to do?
That's all bad weather. That was just 14 different ways to say bad weather. I'm sorry, right? Am I wrong?
Work out. I'm a farmer. I deal with bad weather.
Okay, bad weather. Got it.
I deal with dry weather.
That's just bad weather.
I deal with torrential rain.
That's just more bad weather.
We deal with hurricanes.
One could say that's just more bad weather.
What's a tariff going to do? I got to raise a crop. If I was worried, I'd stay home and not raise.
What's a tariff going to do? What? I'm sorry, sir. Do you not know the financial impacts to your own fucking industry that these tariffs could have? Because I think that would be something that your wife may have an issue with if the head of the household, so to speak, doesn't have like an accurate understanding of how these tariffs could and will impact his industry that he makes his fucking livelihood from. I think the other, head of the household, the missus, might have a problem with that. They might want to have some sort of talk. But again, talking about all of the hardships that a farmer needs to go through, and he's talking about what can a tariff do, it could sink your entire industry. It could make it so you're fucking the land that you live on isn't worth the toilet paper you wipe your ass with, right? That's what it could do. That's what it will do if they continue on this route. That's why it's a problem when, you see China and Argentina making their fucking moves, right? So this continues too. It's not just him. There's others in here too.
Raise a crop. If I was worried about it, I still got to get out there and raise my crop to get the price. If you don't get the yield, it doesn't make any difference,
No, it doesn't. But if you do get the yield and you A, have nowhere to fucking sell it, and B, you do have somewhere to sell it, but the price ain't worth a lick, so you don't get the profits, then it doesn't matter, right? That's what we're talking about. Like, you could have the best year possible, but if the price is down at a certain extent and you have nobody to sell it to, doesn't mean shit. Right. So, again, you're talking about added hardships, added problems onto the already difficult life that farmers face right now. just to make a buck in order to break even. And he's saying that like it doesn't matter. Like, oh, don't worry. He's willing to put his fucking family at risk. I'd like to hear his family's thoughts on that.
I got to deal with all these other things. What's a tariff? I can't control that. So it is what it is.
You talk to America's farmers, they'll tell you these are tough times. A combination of high operating costs, low commodity prices, and lost markets has had devastating repercussions on the agriculture industry and the communities built around it. CBS's Lana Zach is in Davenport, Iowa tonight with new details on the growing crisis.
Farmers say this has been a perfect storm. They were already battling higher growing costs and crop disease. And now China, which had previously purchased half of all U.S. exports, has pulled out.
U.S. soybean farmers are starting their harvest, but they face steep losses that could fuel farm bankruptcies and foreclosures nationwide.
This
All right,
is
so
awful
listen,
discouraged.
just keep that line in mind. So when we get on to the next, when I talk about ChatGPT and JD Vance's involvement and Peter Thiel's involvement, just remember that when you say this could lead, when they say this could lead to bankruptcies, foreclosures, we'll just keep that in mind.
You know, we do our very best to grow a good crop to feed the world, and then we can't hardly give it away.
Many growers say they feel betrayed. Last week, the Trump administration gave Argentina a financial lifeline, a $20 billion loan. But Argentina then cut the price of its own soy exports to China, undercutting U.S. farmers.
We don't do something. We're not going to have no family farms.
In Arkansas this month, hundreds of farmers packed into a church to plead for help from the government.
I'm in the worst shape right now that I've ever been in.
I'm in the worst shape right now that I've ever been in. You know what he didn't say? You know what he didn't say? The worst shape I've ever been in was under Joe Biden. The worst shape I've been in was under this Democrat or that Democrat. Right now, under Donald Trump in his first fucking 8 months is the worst position that this guy has ever been in.
Prices for crops crashing, farmers are doing everything they can to stay viable, even selling off equipment. Joel's Tractors in Strawberry Point, Iowa saw a 30% jump in farm machinery up for auction this year.
Which is never a good sign. I'm sure if you talk to anybody in the area that knows anything about the industry, as happy as these people are for the added business, I'm sure they can tell you that it's not a good thing. It doesn't show that people are financially, doing well because they're trying to now invest. They're now trying to get these old tractors that they've had sitting around, these old pieces of equipment. They'd rather spend, a little bit of money to try to get that up and running as opposed to going out and buying a new piece of equipment or having the funds to go out and buy a new piece of equipment or repair it in the way that it should properly be repaired, that sort of thing. So there's little cues in different industries around the farming industry and around different industries that you could tell where, if they're kind of seeing an uptick in business, it's probably not a good sign elsewhere in the industry.
Finger full of grease in there.
Keeping aging tractors running has Lawrence Christensen and his team working at full throttle.
The demand is stronger than the availability.
New equipment costs have increased by 60% in the last 8 years.
Right,
John Deere, a
look
U.S.
at the amount of different videos. Like, check this out. Ready? So you got this.
Here, if it's John Deere, Case, Caterpillar, all that stuff is outsourced overseas. And the guy that pays it is the guy that purchases it. I can buy a bearing for a combine.
So that's this farmer right now trying to do his best to educate everybody that it is not the other country that pays these tariffs. Ultimately, it is the person that buys the combines, that buys the John Deeres, that buys the cases, right? It is the person purchasing those because of the uptick in price that the company has already put on that tractor to make up for the tariffs. They get that back. It is the person at the end of the line that is stuck paying that. Right. And these people have been fed line after line after line of fucking horseshit and bullshit to make them, to lead them to believe that it is not them that eventually pays for this tariff. It is the country that is being tariffed that pays for it, when that is not how it fucking ends up happening.
And it's made in Taiwan or who knows where. Parts have over doubled in the last year, if you can get them. The dealer at Marshall has a backlog for almost 4 months because they can't get parts because of Trump's stupid tariffs.
And I'm glad he fucking named it. I'm glad he put a name on it so people in there that may not know exactly why this is happening, they can put a fucking name to the tariff policies and go home and be like, oh shit, maybe he was right.
think agriculture has taken a heck of a hit on a lot of misinformation, and he is not helping the farmer. I mean, we farm about 3,500 acres. We are going to be so far in the red. When are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass for these trade deals? And the tariffs. More so the tariffs.
And standing ovation, too. Standing ovation from the people. You know what I mean? I'm not sure where this is. It looks like something Berg down here. I'm not 100% sure where that is, but clearly in a rural area, not that is known for its farming, and you can tell by the 20 or so people that have probably come to this event. But doesn't mean that it has to be huge for these people. I mean, when they're standing up against Donald Trump's trade tariff policies. Then it's pretty apparent as to where the fucking where the thinking is in this industry on the whole. So let's see. I think there's even more. There's this one as well.
Calling the farmers who voted for their own personal financial ruin stupid. It's infantilizing. They aren't stupid. To actually manage a farm effectively requires insane depths of knowledge in math, science, logistics. These people aren't dumb. But what they are learning for, I think, in some cases, the first time in their lives is how expensive racism is. They heard Trump loud and clear when he said that he would deport their labor force and that he would tariff essentially all of the inputs they need to run their facilities. And they absolutely heard him when he claimed over and over again that the U.S. gave too much to the world in aid. And therefore, those aid streams, which most often include the food these farmers grow, would be cut. They heard it all. They just didn't believe it. They thought this was just Trump 1.0, and there would be enough adults in the room to say, hey, this is reckless. We can't do this because it will dismantle the economy. Yeah, a lot of farmers were hurt.
It goes on.
Kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of love. 5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something.
We're going to lose, and I think that's a good place to fucking dive into this as well, because this gentleman says we're going to lose 25 to 30% of the farmers in this country if we don't do something. All right. So I was thinking, and I'm like, I saw a little piece about Acre Trader. It's called, let me see if I can kind of pull this up. Here we go, right here. Share this tab instead. Can you see this? Can I make that a little bit bigger? So I was a little curious, and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can run this through ChatGPT and see if this can, kind of give me anything. So I said, can you tell me about a company called Acre Trader and who's invested? And it said, sure. You know what I mean? Here's a breakdown of Acre Trader, how it works, who's invested. So I decided to, hop into a little bit. And it says Acre Trader is a U.S.-based investment platform founded in 2018 by Carter Malloy. It allows individuals and institutions to invest in farmland through fractional shares. Basically, you don't buy an entire farm, you buy a piece of it. They handle due diligence, management, leasing, rent, and eventual land sales. They also run broker deal arm Acre Trader Financial LLC and have a data mapping company side via Acres. Okay, so that's another thing that I want you to pay attention to: mapping of data. And who's involved in this. You're probably not going to be too surprised to hear that they're farming data as well. So this talks about the investments here, funding investors, who's been named. Here are some of the notable investors in funding round. Seed round in 2020, $5 million, led by RZC Investments, included, what's that say? Rever Partners, platform founder, and others. You can do your research on who that is. In 2021, they got a further $12 million, and in 2022, they got a further $40 to $60 million, led by Anthemis Group, Drive Capital, in the existing backers who participated. So, okay, now it shows me the notable connections and people. J.D. Vance, not U.S. Senator, Vice President of the United States, through Narnia Capital, which he co-founded. The level was relatively small. This says reports of $65,000, which doesn't seem quite right to me. You know, when we're talking about a total investment there of something like 60 to 70 to something $1 million, for him to put in something as little as 65 just doesn't make any sense to me. But it has raised eyebrows given his political profile. Other major investment names, Jump Capital, RZC Investments, Anthemis Group, Drive Capital. So a big development acquisition. As of 2025, AcreTrader was acquired by Proterra Investment Partners. This means its ownership changed and now has the backing of a larger alternative asset manager in the food agriculture value chain. Seems like they're now setting themselves up for something, right? So, and I went on to say, it kind of said, do you want me to kind of give you some other points about this company? And I said, sure. It says key criticisms. Illiquidity and long holding periods. Most farmhouse deals require your capital to be tied up for 5 to 10 plus years, sometimes longer. If you need access to your money, you're stuck. There's currently no robust secondary marketplace, so selling your share early is hard, uncertain, and often private. High barriers to entry, must be accredited investor, high income net worth to even participate. This locks out most people. Minimum investment threshold of often $10,000 plus. Now, if we skip down here to effects on farmers, there's concern that conversion of land owners to passive investors could lead to farms being owned and managed by outsiders, reducing local control. Also worries that farmland bought up by investment firms could raise land prices and rents, putting pressure on small or beginning farmers. Right. So then I went on to say, is there any suspicious or nefarious activity that we should be looking at? And it said what we know: J.D. Vance and AcreTrader, Narya Capital. Vance, Senator, formerly GOP VP nominee. He's now currently vice president through his investment firm, Narya Capital, which has backing from Peter Thiel. Remember, his involvement with Peter Thiel has been widely publicized. Invested in AcreTrader, a platform that lets investors own fractional shares of farmland. Vance reportedly invested up to $65,000 in AcreTrader, as disclosed in 2022 filings. He sold off some stake in Narya Capital Management LLC in 2023, but it appears some investment exposure remains. Right, so Thiel is a backer of Narya Capital, again with J.D. Vance, which supported some of AcreTrader's early funding rounds. Outside farmland topic, Thiel has made land purchases in New Zealand, including large tracts, some of which raised controversy over environmental impact, local regulations, and how his citizenship status might have been expedited. It also talks about how he's made these like respites and like fucking retreats for transhumanism or some bullshit. Some red flags and nefarious angles. There are also some potential and emerging concerns, may not all be proven, but worth calling out. Farming just growing crops. So critics argue that platforms like AcreTrader enable wealthy investors to buy farmland, pressuring small family farms who are facing financial distress, tariff losses, crop price drops. Does that sound fucking familiar, anyone? Does that sound familiar? Does that not sound like what every farmer in those videos was just talking about? The potential for 25 to 30% of farmers to go out of business because of the raise in tariffs, because of the the lowering of prices, because of the bungling of our trade deals with other economic and other with other countries. So who is in the best position right now to start scooping up these farmlands? Just so happens that it's the vice president of the United States himself, the guy probably signing off on a lot of these policies, as well as his buddy, Peter Thiel. Right? So let me see if I can put this just kind of in some sort of perspective in case you're not hugely familiar on who Peter Thiel is, right? I'll put this on. Check this out. Oh, let me see if I can, my apologies. Let me see if I can start it over. I'm going to refresh.
You're hesitant.
Listen to this. For Christ's sakes.
Right?
So basically he's asked a simple question. Peter Thiel here now being asked, you would prefer the human race to endure, right? Like, I don't know if there's ever been a more softball, easy yes to a question that you could possibly fucking answer. There's actually been like several skits made by people online where it's like you can they're pretending to be his like producer in the background where they're like, yep, just say yes. Just say yes, and he doesn't, and they're like, oh shit, oh fuck, and it gets like increasingly more like, listen to this answer to the question, not even really a question, just a statement of saying you want the human race to endure, right? And listen to Peter Thiel's answer. Listen to this craziness.
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes,
I don't know. I would
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in
the
this.
human race survive?
Yes.
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 Okay.
But
no, yes, but just yes. There's no yes, but just yes would be good. We'll take the answer. Yes, that would be fantastic. But since you said but, I guess we'll have to hear out this reason why you think the human race probably shouldn't endure. Go ahead.
I also would I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so, it's always, I don't know, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or I don't know, transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses. And a transsexual is someone where you change your, penis into a vagina. And we can then debate how well those surgeries work. But we want more transformation than that. The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's so pathetically little. And we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body. And
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. You lost me somewhere way back when like the first trans word came out of your mouth. I think I was lost. But you want people to be able to change their entire bodies now? Like, aren't you on the side that is like in disagreement with people being trans? Like, don't you think that's like a step too far for humanity? But apparently it's not. You want to go even further and have people be able to change their minds, their bodies, their spirits, their soul. Like, this is the guy that JD Vance is partnered up with, right? This is the fucking guy. Like, he goes on too. Listen.
And then Orthodox Christianity, by the way, the critique Orthodox Christianity has of this is these things don't go far enough. Like that transhumanism is just changing your body, but you also need to transform your soul, and you need to transform your whole self. And so,
right. But the other,
where,
wait.
Guys like,
I'm sorry.
Right.
I generally,
and remember, this is to the question. Hey, you would agree with the statement that the human race should endure, right? Like this is where we ended up from that question.
Agree with what I think is your belief that religion should be a friend to science and ideas of scientific progress. I think any idea of divine providence has to
be great. So show me some scientific evidence to suggest that Jesus exists.
Encompass the fact that we have progressed and achieved and done things that would have been unimaginable to our ancestors. But it still also seems like,
all right, so that was just, again, let's hop back into this, but I just was kind of showing you how crazy he was. But the red flags go on, right? So this is just going to show you who's leading themselves into the best financial position. This can lead to land consolidation, higher rents, loss of local control, sharecropping risk. So some worry that the models resemble sharecropping. Farmers sell their land or allow investors ownership and then rent it back under terms that favor the investors as opposed to the farmers. This could lock farmers into dependency. Speculative motives. With Thiel Vance backing, land investments may not simply be about agriculture, but about speculation, value appreciation, tax optimization, and prepping for instability. Political power, land control. Land is power. If investment vehicles tied to political figures, Vance and Thiel, accumulate land, this may wield influence over food supply, land use, environmental regulation, zoning, especially in rural, less populated areas. This says, what isn't clear? There is no definitive public evidence so far that Vance or Thiel ordered or engineered illegal foreclosures or forced takeovers of farms. No, but there is very much evidence to suggest that they've definitely set themselves up to be the people that catch these farms as they go under. Impact on specific farmers is anecdotal. Data is dim on how many small farmers are really getting squeezed out. It's not yet established that the VP, if you meant VP as vice president, I did, has direct operational control or conflict of interest abuses in the management of these investments. But it is definitely something that we need to dig more into, right? And I'm sure there's people in this chat that are better at this whole research thing than I am. So I don't know if there's anybody out there that has the time or the inclination to start to do some digging on the actual involvement of everybody in that. I think that might be a story that we could definitely break where, if 20 to 30% of the farmers are losing their land and it's going straight to people like J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel or companies that they're directly invested in, then I think we have a fucking serious problem and a serious conflict of interest that we could raise the alarm bells on, right? I mean, just kind of makes sense to me. Just kind of makes sense. And there was one other thing that I was trying to look up. Now I forget what it was. Now I do forget what it was that I was trying to show you. I'm out of time. Anyway, shit, how did that happen? Time flies. Time flies when you're making fun of thugs. Oh, you know what it was? This is what I'll do. 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 We'll take a look at a couple of the Pam Bondi clips from this morning. How about that? And then I'll get you guys out of here. We'll have to save the. I'll save the. I'm probably gonna fucking miss out on that opportunity too, huh? I probably missed out on that. I'm sure it'll be covered by somebody else by then. But let's see if we can just dive into a couple of these. Clips here from Pam Bondi's time in front of people this morning. Here answering questions. Who's probably the best to get it from? Oh, yeah, here's another one of the farmers. This is another soybean farmer going in line with what we were just talking about. We might as well pull this up. Check this out.
Well, the stopgap needs to come because they've kind of painted the farmer in a corner. I mean, I want trade, not aid. I need a market. I need a place to sell this stuff. I can work hard enough and make a product. If you give me some place to sell it, I'll take care of myself. But they've painted us in a corner with this China deal and China buying no soybeans. I mean, they've tore our market in half. I mean, if you take the 4 years prior to Trump's first tariff war, the average price of a bushel of soybeans is $12.54. The average price for the 4 years during Trump's first tariff war is $9.39. That's $163 an acre swing to the minus. The next 4 years after the tariff war, the average price is $13.59.
Well, I kind of admire him for saying, listen, I don't need, this is kind of like when Zelensky was like, listen, I don't need a ride. I need bullets. I need ammunition. This guy's saying, listen, I don't need a handout. I need a fucking market to trade the crops that I was born to grow, that I am skilled at growing. I need a market. I don't need your fucking handouts because of the policies that you've put in place are responsible for taking the money out of my pocket to begin with. So it's kind of stupid for you to try to give us handouts when we could just, try to fix the policies that made this a problem in the first place, is what he's saying. But let's see if there's a couple more. I know there's a couple good moments from this Pam Bondi meeting. Let's see if I can find just a couple of the good ones here. I'm going to go to ASIN. Government below Pam Bondi. What's this one?
Gregory Bovino, that he was obligated to follow a court order and the Constitution in California. According to reports, she was fired less than 6 hours after she told Bovino he couldn't arrest people without probable cause. 6 hours. So my first question, Attorney General Bondi, is a simple yes-no question. Do you believe that government officials like Gregory Bovino are obligated to follow applicable court orders, whether they agree with them or not? Yes or no?
First, Senator Padilla, you have gone on for over 5 minutes, and I wish that you loved your state of California as much as you hate President Trump. We'd be in really good shape then, because violent crime in California is currently 35% higher than the national average. Property crime in California is 18%.
So this seemed to be her whole rule, like her whole routine. From what the clips that I've seen so far was basically just she had talking points on all of the people, all of the Democrats on the panel that she knew were going to come after him, and she kind of had these stupid talking points to try to get out of and dodge the questions that she was being asked. Where she was claiming that different donors to different people had a relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, which she seemingly did a lot of investigatory work to figure out, as opposed to doing investigatory work to figure out, who was involved with Jeffrey Epstein, with the crimes and stuff. Seems like she had her people and, people around her do some digging from the people on the committee so that she had something to kind of combat this bullshit with, right? Well, let's see. I think Aaron Rupar had a couple of these posted as well. Yeah, there's a couple here. Let's see if I can check in here.
Public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking.
It's a simple question. Simple question. Have you seen evidence to suggest or corroborate what's been said in the public? Simple, like, and then she comes at him. This is what I'm talking about. Where she comes at them as like somebody that he accepted money from, or somebody that donated to his campaign. I'm not sure what the ins and outs are. Also had some prior involvement with Jeffrey Epstein or something like that. She goes on to try to, again, obfuscate.
President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being.
Right. So it sounds like she did more work to figure out what, dirt she could dig up on the people on this fucking committee that were going to ask her the difficult questions than it did that she was actually trying to expose the crimes originally, which was kind of crazy. Right. Let's see if there's any more here. Yeah, Klobuchar, I know she had a good spat with her. This must have been their statements afterwards. Were you consulted by the White House before they did true? Oh, yeah, she refused to answer whether or not she even spoke to the White House here.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Madam Attorney General, let me ask you this question. Were you consulted by the White House before they deployed National Guard troops to cities in the United States?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House.
You won't even say whether you talked to the White House about this?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House with you, Ranking Member.
Again, unless you, and in case you needed further evidence to suggest that this is the most transparent administration in history, right, ladies and gentlemen? The duty of this committee is to fucking question and ask about what's going on inside of these different agencies. And they're just going to stonewall them and say they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to say anything. But again, also going on TV to call themselves the most transparent administration in history, right? All right, so I'm over. I apologize, you guys. Let me get into thanking some people that were nice enough to send an old Venmo over. And then we'll get into the people on the old YouTubes that were kind enough to send out a super chat or a super sticker or donate.
What's the secret?
Donate memberships.
Why do you want to?
So let me see here. Let me get into the old Venmos. You guys are amazing. You really are. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you so much, James. Thank you so much, Roxanne. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Moms as well. Shout out to Claudia. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Sharon. And shout out to Jenny Faye. And Victoria and Damon and Nicole and the rest of you fine people. You guys are amazing. All these kind contributions. Thank you, JD, as well. I appreciate you. See you sneaking one in there. But all right, let me get into the super chats here on YouTube. Shout out Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. I appreciate you kicking that off in the right way. Nancy with the 5 gifted. Make sure we're thanking Nancy. I appreciate you as always, Nancy. And thank you so much, Peter, again, for your unbelievable contribution. Shout out to you. Shout out to everything that you do within this community, not only in this chat, but in others. And we appreciate it. We recognize it. And we thank you very much, my friend. Thank you, Broken Promised Land, for becoming a YouTube member. I really do appreciate everybody that's joining us, joining the family, joining the community. It's really important that we grow our base now and we find ourselves, involved in the fight, having the most teeth to use, so to speak. In the way we do that is growing this community. If we could get 15, 20,000 by the time midterms roll around, then I think we could really start rolling in the mud with some serious people. Or some unserious people, if you want to go about it that way. But I appreciate you, Broken Promised Land. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you, No Money. Kicking MAGA ass, Brian. Thank you. Heart, fist bump. I appreciate that. Right back at you. Appreciate that, my friend. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here for 5 months. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your loyalty. That goes for AI Jesus as well. Thank you so much, my friend. Shout out to you. Great show, Brian. We need your voice. No, well, I need your voice. That's what I need. I need you guys in the chat to do your best and to continue to spread the word, spread awareness, not only of this show, but all the other great and fantastic creators that you guys watch. That way we can get more and more people involved, more and more support for independent communities like this, independent creators, alternative media. that kind of give it to you in a different way. You know, it's a lot like sitting down with your friends or your family discussing politics, as opposed to having somebody that just graduated from Harvard or Yale trying to describe and tell you what you should believe in politics. So I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you, Ruben, as well. Shout out to you. You're absolutely right, and it is fucking a shame that we now find ourselves in this position in the United States, where once again racial profiling is the law of the land, and is something that is actively being instructed by the President of the United States for these ICE agencies and Border Patrol to follow. So thank you, Ruben. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. Slacks, you fucking handsome bastard. What are you doing, brother? Slava Ukraine, Heroyam Slava, just checking in. Love Brian, Mel, Dungaree Dog, Logan. Love to all my Bryantologists. Thanks for your love. Appreciate you as always, my dude. Hope everything is well. Thank you so much for being here. And again, I never thought I'd wish for a military coup. I know, right? It's like, but it's crazy. It is. I mean, what we're seeing out there is something that you never thought you'd see in, with your own eyes in the United States in 2025. But it is happening. It's happening on a wide scale. It's happening in multiple cities, and it's happening on a daily basis, and it's only getting worse. So again, I posed the question to everybody: when is enough enough? When do we put our foot down? When do we draw that line in the sand and say, okay, you cross this once more, and then you're going to have some hell to pay? Right? You're going to have some issues, and you brought this upon yourself. Anything from here on out is called self-defense. It's called defending the homeland and defending my rights, and it is not considered, a provocation. You guys provoked us. We are now responding. So thank you, Slacks. I appreciate you. Thank you, Roxanne, for being here for 5 months. I appreciate you so much. So much appreciation going back and forth. It's awesome to see. It is awesome to see. Well, we appreciate you so much, Roxanne. Thank you for being here for 5 months. Thank you so much, JD, as always. 18 months. Let's fucking go, brother. Let's fucking go. So many times that we've been in here. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming back time and time again. Thank you for your contributions as well for the swear job. Be throwing that right in. Thank you, Laurie. Things aren't going to get crazy. Things are going and I'm going to assume that's going to say things are going to get crazy here in Chicago. I don't know if you fell asleep on the keyboard halfway through that or what, Laurie, but I'm assuming that's going to say things are going to get crazy here in Chicago. And again, you keep seeing snipers on the roof shooting rubber bullets at people, and people being thrown down stairwells and out of on concrete and out of elevators. And then that is absolutely inviting. That is inviting chaos. That is inviting, people to retaliate and respond to those egregious actions. I mean, that's just what it is. I hate to say it. I hate to say that we're in that moment, but that's the moment that we're in. But I appreciate you guys. I'm going to let you guys go. And so you can check out all of the other fabulous independent creators, all of the not famous, but fabulous lefties that are also doing the dirty work, doing their good deed on the internet here to give you guys the information. There's a lot to cover. It's almost impossible for one show to try to cover it all. I try to do my best, but make sure you're here tomorrow for our double dose of Blunt Politics. We're on tomorrow at 1 in the afternoon on the East Coast, which means 10 a.m. here on the West Coast. And then we have our late show at 8:30 p.m. on the East Coast, 5:30 on the West Coast. So make sure you're hitting that notification bell. It will tell you every time I go live. And I think it does tell you every time that I put out a video. I've put out a few on the Boston Brian channel as well as the Minus Touch videos. So please make sure you guys are checking those out. Like them, spread them wherever you can. It would go a long way in helping me. I do appreciate your support. I thank you for your fight. I thank you for your aggression. Make sure you're getting out of your seat into the streets. Finding Earth's protest. Finding Earth's rally. Fuck ICE. Free Palestine. Fuck Donald Trump. You know the rest of it. You know how the saying goes. And I appreciate you guys. I'll see you twice tomorrow. All right. I appreciate it. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. Have a great day. Thank you, mods, for everything, your time, volunteering your time, making sure that chat stays a safe place. And thank you to the entire chat as a whole, whether it be the fabulous people on Venmo, PayPal, Patreon, or becoming channel members here at YouTube. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And I will see you tomorrow. All right. Peace.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of
really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got that gun very well. I've become an expert on guns. They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? This week it was reported that an illegal alien, and you just look at this, what's happening. Venezuela. Did you just see Maduro? Venezuela. It's unbelievable.
The population in Thailand is 63 million people. It is twice the size of Wyoming. Its chief exports are textiles, footwear, and rice. Each year, approximately 13,000 people are killed in car accidents in Thailand.
In Venezuela. Did you just see Maduro? Uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things. Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Go fuck yourself.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful out. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
I can just tell you that a con artist is about to take over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and we have to put a stop to it.
Later, guys. Make sure you hit that like on the way out. Appreciate you.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there. Water coming here is dead. Oh, there's a fly. Oh, I wonder where the fly came from. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great.
How do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president? Seriously, how do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president?
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
He says, wrecked him, damn near killed him.
Full of dumps, big massive dumps.
Oh, get those lights off!